My name is Zach. I want to talk about my 10 favorite philosophy books today. I'm kind of pressed for time. It's been a really stupid week. One of those stupid weeks of life that makes you hate life itself so naturally, I decided it's a great time to hopefully briefly, talk about philosophy. Now, I think this is kind of a stupid question. I think that every book, e- nothing is without a philosophy or a psychology. We can argue about how complex the philosophy or a psychology of any piece of media or any given thing is, but I think everything comes with a philosophy and a psychology. But I've been reading the Prince of Nothing trilogy. I'm reading The Warrior Prophet, and this trilogy is quickly becoming one of my favorite philosophical texts. The Darkness That Comes Before and The Warrior Prophet. It's the one I'm reading right now. It's been mind blowing. It's been just thrilling, intellectually thrilling, and extremely sexually, violently confrontational. So I've been thinking a little bit more about the philosophy that formed me. I used to be really into philosophy. I'm into philosophy a lot less now that I'm older, possibly more jaded, even more cynical, but I will never forget the attraction I felt to philosophy when I was in high school and in college. Late teens, early 20s, philosophy felt so fucking important. And now I roll my eyes if someone mentions fucking Marx or Nietzsche or, God forbid, one of the fucking Stoics. I will gag openly without embarrassment. I will fucking die inside. But I think I can still come up with 10 philosophy books that don't make me cringe, that I think I learned a lot from. And, like, even if I don't want to admit it to myself, I carry these philosophers, these ideas with me, to this day. So in this list, you will find some religious philosophy. You'll find post-structuralist, postmodernist, nihilist, existentialist philosophy. I think it's a decent variety. And I think, like, all put together, it might explain why I'm the fucking way that I am. It will explain who hurt me. Mm. But let's get on with this. Coming in at number 10, I just put this list together, didn't put too much thought into it, and I found that I didn't need to. At number 10 is Fear and Trembling by Kierkegaard, which is a foundational existentialist text about the moral aesthetics of true faith. It's my favorite work by Kierkegaard, and it means a lot to me. I first read it in college. I was in a philosophy club called the Kierkegaardians of the Galaxy. So, I mean, I already know I'm going to hell because I was a part of one of the worst philosophical puns in existence. But Kierkegaard has always been somebody who appealed to me in a variety of different ways. Kierkegaard still matters to me. I still carry Fear and Trembling with me. And if you've never read Kierkegaard before, you should take that leap of faith and check him out. Number 9, Emma Goldman, Anarchism and Other Essays. Emma Goldman's a fucking beast. Never trust a revolutionary who's like afraid to dance or who's unwilling to dance. Dude, Emma Goldman is kind of the greatest. It's one of the greatest anarchist thinkers of all time. I had a huge anarchism phase. I was in love with like anarchism, not simply as a political theory, but as a way of life. I want to be emotionally anarchist. I want to be morally anarchist. The politics of anarchism to me is almost an afterthought. Like I want to be personally anarchist. You know, it's kind of like to me, it's existentialism with a lot of attitude. But of course, I love the political theory of anarchism as well. And Emma Goldman's one of the very best thinkers, like I just said. If you've ever had a passing interest in Emma Goldman. You should read Emma Goldman, Anarchism, and Other Essays. She's absolutely brilliant. And there's so many reasons why I've become disillusioned with so many philosophers, and most of it has nothing to do with the philosophy or the philosopher. Honestly, it's about how people use this philosophy, because philosophy is meant to be used. It's meant to be embedded into subcultures. It's meant to be illuminated outward by the reader, by the learner, by the student. And I hate the ways in my early to mid 20s, late teens even, that I saw Emma Goldman's stuff being bastardized. You know, like, if I had $1 for every time I heard some black bandanaed fuck boy uh, quote Emma Goldman to some scene girl or some fucking crust punk girl to try to get in her pants, I'd be filthy fucking rich. I hate that Emma Goldman kind of became the gold standard for punk fuck boys to try to smash chicks in fucking punk houses and stuff and squats. I kind of hate that. It left a bad taste in my mouth. But her philosophy is beautiful, and everyone should read it. Sorry for venting about that. That's really neither here nor there. But philosophy. We do have to look at the effects of that philosophy and like how that philosophy is used. And sadly, I see a lot of anarchist philosophy, especially great anarchist philosophy written by great feminists like Emma Goldman. I see it being used morbidly, ironically, to seduce young girls. And it's fucked. There's so many things that are fucked about philosophy. Like, even like in college or anywhere, even right now I can go to like a mid-level bar, not a fucking dive. I could go to the next level up and I can find some fucking asshole uh using an empty reading of philosophy to try to gain social status. Like, I hate how cool philosophy is. Okay, I wish philosophy was nerdier. I wish we didn't fucking give a fuck more. It's gonna take forever if I spend this long bitching, dude. Come on, we gotta move forward. Number 8, definitely a less cool philosophy. Jewish mysticism. I'm talking about the Zohar, specifically the Pritzker version, produced by Daniel C. Matt. Daniel C. Matt is a Kabbalist. Fucking what do they call it? What do they call it? It's not like a teacher. He's just a scholar. Scholar. Great. Couldn't think of the word scholar. It's been that bad of a fucking week. Jewish mysticism is fascinating. Kabbalah is so fucking interesting. The Sephiroth, Tree of Life, whatever. It's so fucking cool. Just a beautiful interpretation of the Tanakh, of the Torah, just this beautiful symbolic interpretation of it. And I've always found Kabbalah a deeply fascinating religious philosophy. And I'm not going to act like I've read all of the Zohar. I have read the first volume. I own the first volume. I own all of these. I just didn't feel like getting them. But I own the first volume of this. And that's the only volume that I've read. But it was very, very enlightening. And I've read a lot about the Zohar as well. And I've read a lot of Daniel C. Matt. Like, he's written other things about Kabbalah, like more beginner stuff about Kabbalah, which I love, which I've lifted, actually, which I've borrowed for my own interpretations of like literature and film and stuff like that. It's in that book. You may have heard me say something similar to this on this channel about how books are supposed to be. He says in that book that the whole idea of Kabbalah's understanding of God is that God is not a static being. God is dynamic becoming. And I always thought that was a beautiful way to put it. So I think I've said often, either about films on different YouTube channels or about books on this channel, that good art is not static being. Good art is dynamic becoming. Zohar is, I think, a fascinating philosophical text. And I think what makes it so fascinating is that it's a companion piece, right? It's a mystical commentary on the Tanakh, the Torah, to the Jewish understanding of God. Number seven, another anarchist, but this time an anarcho-primitivist. John Zerzan's Future Primitive. Now, this book can radicalize you. This book can fuck you up. Yeah, I do want to say that actually. You see those lists of like 10 most disturbing books, and the most creative that the person can get when they're putting together the list of books is just that there's a couple rapes in there that the main character doesn't feel too bad about. No, no, the most disturbing books are philosophy books, because philosophy, more than anything else on the planet, can radicalize you so easily. You know, you can be radicalized by nihilism, radicalized by Christianity, radicalized by anarchism, radicalized by any school of thought that has at least one really moving thinker, right? Like one really expressive uh, writer, and something like Future Primitive could definitely radicalize you into saying "fuck the world." I'm going to the woods. It's Unabomber light. It's Ted Kaczynski for pacifists, basically. And even then, maybe I'm giving Future Primitive too much credit. I'm not really sure how pacifist it actually is. It's been a little while since I've read it, but it is a fascinating book. It is a thrilling indictment on the ultramodern world that we live in, and it's a riveting exploration of the ancient anarchism that dwells inside all of us, inside of all of our souls, and how we need to liberate the ancient anarchist that is dwelling there. We need to liberate the ancient anarchist inside of us all. John Zerzan is very, very interesting. I think he's a great anarchist thinker, but it does need to be said here that I think if you fall too deeply into any of the books on my list, um, you can end up an extremist, right? But that should be true of any great philosophy. Any great philosophy should run that risk, but you should know that going into it, right? It's not about being impressionable. Like, I'm not talking down to you, and I'm not saying that I'm the most impressionable person in the world either. That's the way philosophy is like built. It's constructed. It's constructed to change you, and to change culture at the same time. Like these are, this is inflammable material, basically. But Future Primitive absolutely deserves to be at number seven. Number six is a novel by Albert Camus called The Fall. I love the myth of Sisyphus as much as anybody else. I love any philosophical text that opens with like, I don't care how many planets there are. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, should I kill myself today? I think we all love the myth of Sisyphus. I even liked The Plague, Caligula, The Stranger. But The Fall is the one that stayed with me the longest. The ending is one of the most haunting things I've ever read. It's a beautiful novel. It's my favorite work of Camus, and as a piece of absurdism, it's absolutely, to me, it's like the darkest, but also the most powerful work of absurd philosophy ever. You should read it. Number five is Tolstoy's Confession. It's one of the greatest pieces of Christian philosophy ever, written by Tolstoy, a master of the written word. Uh, this is an absolutely compelling read. Tolstoy's Confession, to me, yeah, is probably the, outside of the Bible, right, the greatest piece of Christian philosophy that anyone's ever written. It is so sensitive, so emotional, and to me, it's honestly one of a kind. It feels so honest and authentic. And obviously, I think Tolstoy was a Christian anarchist. And if you've noticed on my list, I'm very partial to anarchist ideas. I have a lot of anarchist sympathies. And Christian anarchism, that's kind of what I've been trying to do lately. Been thinking a lot more about Christian anarchism. I think it's a beautiful philosophy. So if there's a philosophy that I've been um, the closest to lately, it's been Christian anarchism. And I think Tolstoy's Confession is possibly the best writing in the entire school of Christian anarchist thought. Number four is Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre, a novel, an existentialist novel, and possibly the greatest work of existentialism ever. It's oh my god, the word brilliant or genius doesn't begin to cover Sartre's Nausea. Dude, there's like a part where the main character is looking at this like bench on a bus or some shit, and like he imagines all of its individual isolated pieces and breaks down just how absurd, just how even offensive and nauseating meaning itself is, the dimensions of all meaning. Meaning is just such a nauseating thing. The human experience is the definition of nausea itself. I think it's beautifully written. I think Sartre is probably the greatest existentialist philosopher, primarily because of Nausea. Like, if he only wrote Nausea, he would have been a legend. Nausea is just so important to me. Like Nausea, obviously, I think changed my life entirely. It's haunting, but it's also it makes me feel like I'm not alone. So it's comforting as well. There's comfort within the nausea, and I love Sartre. I still love Sartre, even though I'm not a fucking 19-year-old edgelord anymore. I love Nausea. Now we're at the top three, but before we do top three, I always like to do honorable mentions. We'll go through these pretty quickly. Foucault, Derrida, the postmodernists. I love them. I don't love their work as a whole, right? I'm more of a Foucault reader kind of person, or excerpts from Derrida. Like, I can't tell you that On Grammatology is great because I can't finish that book for my fucking life. I can't tell you to read like any actual Foucault book, but I can tell you to read to get one of those introductory readers of those philosophers, because postmodernism is a beautiful school of thought, and Foucault and Derrida are obviously, I think, the two pillars that matter most to postmodernism. And then I liked theater, so like the playwrights, the absurdist playwrights. We're talking Samuel Beckett with like Endgame or Waiting for Godot, Jean Genet specifically with The Balcony, Harold Pinter, The Wedding Party, The Homecoming, I think it was called. It better be The Homecoming because that one's his best, and that's really what puts him on this list as well. And Edward Albee, even an American, with Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and the Zoo Story. Truly, I love the absurdist playwrights. They made Camus' philosophy cinematic in a lot of ways, and digestible, and by doing so made it like irresistible isn't the right word, irrefutable. Like, we all see the absurd around us at all times, the absurd dilemma, meaningless creatures in a meaningful environment, or more horrifyingly vice versa. And then the philosophy of Andy Warhol. I loved Warhol's philosophy book. It's ironic and it's postmodern as well, but there's this part that stuck with me, and it won't sound profound to you, and it might be because it's deliberately not profound, but I find how deliberately unprofound it is to be so fucking overwhelmingly profound. There's a part where he's like, "There's nothing more beautiful than a McDonald's in Beijing. There's nothing more beautiful than a McDonald's in Trenton, New Jersey. There's nothing more beautiful than a McDonald's in Pakistan. There's nothing more beautiful than a McDonald's in Calgary." Just on and on and on and on until like you fully get the entire meaning behind his repeated Campbell's soup imagery, right? Like his repeated Marilyn Monroe paintings. Like you get this idea, and it's the same as Sartre's Nausea, just done within pop art sensibilities. So I like The Philosophy of Andy Warhol. I think it's a very good book. Do I have any other honorable mentions? Well, there might be some here that like you're surprised aren't here. Well, no, actually, let me just be like spicy for a second. I mentioned Stoicism earlier. I hate Stoicism. I hate Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I hate Epictetus. I hate Stoicism so much. And like at the beginning, when I said like look at how that philosophy is being used, and Stoicism has been hijacked by desperate idiot men going their own way for the last like 20 years or so. And I think that Stoicism is honestly a slave mentality, a slave philosophy, which you could argue Christianity is as well. But like, if you have an anarchist reading of Christianity, then it's not about being a slave. There is no anarchist reading of Stoicism. Stoicism, to me, kind of justifies, pacifies slavery in a lot of different ways. I do like Nietzsche. He's not on my list. I like Beyond Good and Evil, or Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I don't even know how to say the fucking word, but I've always liked Nietzsche. It's just, I mean, look at how that philosophy was used to absolute ruin and abandon. But I do like his explorations of nihilism. I do enjoy his criticisms of nihilism. Um, I think my most hated philosopher is Carl Jung. I think that he's radicalized more minds for some reason in my generation than any other philosopher. Like, I'd rather be around Stoics than a fucking red book truther, than a symbols man and his symbols fucking truther. I think that Carl Jung is the worst kind of sci-fi mystic masquerading as a Jesus figure. So like those are big philosophers that weren't on my list. I like Nietzsche. I don't care about the other philosophers. I said, like, I don't like Stoicism. I don't like Carl Jung. In fact, I like Freud a lot more than Jung. Number 3 on my list is the Bhagavad Gita. It partly makes up the epic poem that is the Mahabharata, sacred Indian religious text. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the most beautiful pieces of philosophy I've ever read. Arjuna and Krishna really make you think so many wild thoughts. And I think it's a book of positive philosophy as well. I think it is actually trying to heal you, to reveal to you certain spiritual truths and sensitivities. And yeah, I find it a very sensitive work. Bhagavad Gita to me is just, yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely deserves to be in the top 3. It's one of the most beautiful texts I've ever encountered in my entire life. At number 2, Guy Debord, post structuralist French philosopher. It's called The Society of the Spectacle. It's the last work of philosophy that radicalized me deeply. It's basically about how life has been replaced by a series of representations. Like, real life has been replaced by its representation, and that we live in a world of representations upon representations upon representations. The Society of the Spectacle. It's such a beautiful work, and it'll really change the way that you look at the world. I'm gonna call it a cosmically highly pessimistic work. So if you're not in a good place, maybe don't read it. But I want everyone who feels complacent or content to read The Society of the Spectacle. Or like, if you feel free, I want you to read Society of the Spectacle. I want to humble you with Guy Debord. He's so fucking good, man. There are a lot of interesting anarchist, borderline Marxist thoughts in it too. There's a lot to the Society of the Spectacle. There's another great post-structuralist book called The Revolution of Everyday Life, which is kind of a good companion piece. It's not by Guy Debord. I forgot who wrote it. But the Society of the Spectacle is like macro level understanding of this. And Revolution of Everyday Life is more about the personal, like what you can do to attain a semblance of freedom or even a representation of freedom. The number 1, it's a cheap answer, but it's an honest one. It's the Christian Bible. I think that Gospel of John, Book of Acts, a lot of Paul's shit in there, Exodus, man. Like, there's so many beautiful things in the Christian Bible. I think it is likely one of the most enduringly fascinating philosophies to grapple with. There's a lot of different interpretations. I prefer an anarchist interpretation personally, but if time has proved anything, it's that there's an endless amount of ways to parse the the Holy Bible. There's so many different ways to go about reading it, and even if we just take it at face value, I think that Christ's teachings are really, to me, kind of perfect. Kind of perfect, like really good. Be hard to beat. Be hard to beat him, Christ as a political theorist, Christ as a philosopher. It's a bit difficult to beat that. Uh, yeah, fucking peak, fucking good stuff. Um, Number one is absolutely the Christian Bible, and yeah, it's just you can analyze it endlessly. People have done so. People generations upon generations have actually made living off of analyzing and providing commentary on the Bible, because there's just so many different ways to view it, so many different ways to read and interpret it. Hell, there are so many different translations. Personally, I like King James because I feel that it's the most poetic, but clearly it's not the most accurate. But then it's like we get into a real like ontological fucking, I hate that word so much. But we get into a real philosophical debate about like what accuracy even means in a holy or historical context. Like we just went over Society of the Spectacle. Accuracy has been replaced by the representation of accuracy itself. Like, does it make it more inaccurate to be accurate? Like, we have to kind of think in recursive ways, or I do. I'm getting off track now. We're supposed to be, this is supposed to be short. Damn it. I knew I couldn't do this, and like, in my head, guys, I was like 16 minutes. I had it exact. I was like 16 minutes and we'll be out of here. Couldn't have been more incorrect. But all right. I hope you came across some interesting philosophers, some interesting philosophical novels, essays, texts from this video that maybe you haven't read before or you haven't pulled the trigger on. I think everything I mentioned here is yeah, fundamentally worth pulling the trigger on. You should commit to some of these philosophies, at least interact with them. But once again, just be safe with some of these philosophies. I don't want you to turn into a mad Kabbalist who fucking leaves his family, abandons everybody to pursue the fucking Sephiroth or whatever. I don't want you guys to read Future Primitive or Nausea and get even more radical than is at all healthy. Like, be careful with philosophy. You should always be careful with philosophy. Philosophy requires more warnings than it comes with, because I don't know, you see those pictures of like people from the coal mines or whatever, and it's like before the coal mine and then 6 months or 7 months later, and it's like a totally different person. Looks like they've been through hell. I would love to see that, but done with people who learn about philosophy, people who suddenly decided to buy that Nietzsche book or that Hegel book, and I want to see them before and after they read it. Like, before existentialism and then 10 years after existentialism. Oh god. Dude, that would be hilarious. But yeah, just be safe out there. I've been Soul Catcher Simp. Bye for now.